But hi, it's nice to talk to you. I appreciate
You
it.
too.
Thanks for taking the time. I'm enjoying the series. So, the first thing I did want to actually ask you about was what can you say about the massacre that happens at 12, Silo 12 and the experiments? Like, can you say anything about that? I guess is what I should say, because I don't know what you can't say.
Uh, the answer to what happened and why will come in the next few episodes. So I can't really say much other than you will get to find out a lot more. We're not going to leave you hanging.
Okay, good. Now we found out about Shane and that he's meeting someone who supposedly is, I'm saying supposedly because we found out he wasn't the son, but is who we thought was father's daughter. And when I talked to Josh, he had said that he's very integral to the conspiracy and didn't really say more than that. Is there anything you can say at all about kind of where that's headed and why he's doing what he's doing and not telling anybody about it, especially because I feel like whatever he's doing, they would probably be okay to tell.
Right. I think he, he's on a search for answers.
Yeah.
And those answers connect to Dulles and they connect to the pit. And um I think it's been his private journey or his private mission for a long time now. And he's gonna get some answers and some big reveals, and we're gonna get some big reveals about exactly what he's looking for in the next couple episodes. So I think people will like it's unknown now, but I think a lot of it is going to be answered pretty soon and hopefully answered in a way that people are excited by.
All right, fair enough. Can you talk about balancing kind of what to make the episodic versus this overall story and how you decide that? Because I know when I started watching this, I thought it was all going to be procedural, and I really like that it has that, mystery element to it.
Yeah, I mean it is a balancing act. Like, one of the things about television right now is that there are a lot of different ways to consume it, right? There's live television, there's DVR, there's on demand, and then there's streaming. And like they're all kind of different ways. And I think for us, we really enjoy the serialized stories too, but we recognize that with a procedural show, like the sort of the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for a procedural show is syndication and the
Yeah.
ability to be able to for people to be able to watch episodes in out of order or to be able to drop in. And I mean, you can, when you're watching an SVU episode, you don't need to know whether it's season 5 or season 17. You're like, Olivia Benson, I'm in, let's go, right? And so like I think, on the one hand, you want to create a product and a show and an experience that can be watched in syndication or out of order. At the same time, you want something that is gripping and compelling that keeps people kind of on the edge of their seats so that they experience it, hopefully in the live broadcast model. But yeah, it's a big transition, in terms of like how television is getting made. And like when you're working for a platform like NBC Peacock, it's different from when I'm working for like a platform like Netflix. Netflix isn't, they don't have the same complicated sort of you know release into the world. It's like there's one platform, it's global. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah,
you have to figure out who you're making the product for and then what makes sense for that.
that's fair. Do you guys know like what your plan is to head if you get a season two, hopefully into season two?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did the idea originally come from?
Came from a like a 2.5 hour conversation that JJ and I had. When was it? It was like January of 2022. So we were still kind of in a little bit of pandemic mode, and we had a Zoom that just kind of kept going, and like we realized that we both really were interested in doing something in the serial killer world, a procedural with sort of a twist, and we our creative chemistry was was such that we were just like, let's keep exploring this. Let's see where it goes. And so far we've been sort of like the little engine that could.
Talk about the decision to make there be I mean I know he's a soldier. Basically there's three investigators with Shane, and usually you have partners and that's it. And I really like that you've had this dynamic you've kept with the three of them, and even with Nick's character a little bit. Like, what was the decision behind that? Because it is different, or at least it feels different to me in that sense.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I was a little
That
confused.
I was just saying, like the three of them, Shane goes with them. It's not just
Yeah.
like the two partners. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that balance with the three of them.
I think that is the balance, but I also think that like you're going to see Morales, Sarah Garcia go on the mission in 9, and you're going to see a very different side of her. And I think we're excited about the idea of like once we've established sort of the traditional first season version of the show, being able in subsequent seasons to kind of twist on it. You know what I mean? And like certainly the possibility of adding additional people into the command center, or people that could join them on missions, like we have a really great cast. They're really nice people, and they love hanging out together. They constantly hang out together. Like we're done with work and they're like, we're all gonna go get food, like so it's a nice there's a good chemistry there, and we're really grateful for that.
I was gonna say, since they have such a great chemistry, talk a bit about casting them originally when you chose
Yeah.
them.
I mean, we the show was picked up to series without anybody cast. We were really sort of operating in the traditional, like, let's get as many tapes as possible. And with Melissa, there just weren't, like, for whatever reason, the character of Bex was really sort of hard for people to crack. I think because there's so many different kind of tonalities to it. And she's such a sort of remarkable leading a woman in that way. Like she has this incredibly sort of there's a toughness and a softness. There's like a dry humor, and like there's like a little bit of badass, and like a physical confidence, and like it was all of these different elements that we just didn't see many people that we felt like could play the role successfully. And so we were really happy when we cast her, because we felt like we finally found the person that could play this. And Patrick, I remember watching Patrick's tape the first time I did and being struck by it, because there's a lot of people that can play CIA,
Mhm.
but there aren't that many people that can play CIA but also feel like they're a good dad. And that was sort of his differentiator. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like Jason Clark in Zero Dark 30 is a great CIA agent, but
Mhm.
like he doesn't seem like he'd be a great dad,
Right.
like whereas with Patrick he did, and that quality immediately stood out to me. And with Josh, uh, our director Tor had worked with him on La Brea, and so immediately said, "Look at this guy." And the more we did and we worked with him, we were just like kind of blown away by him. I think people see kind of how amazing he is on the show, and like he's very winning, and is surprisingly funny. Like he's made a lot of great jokes with the scripts that I didn't know were in there, in sort of moments of looking, and yeah, he's just super talented.
Oh, that's fair. We're almost out of time, but is there anything else that you're allowed to kind of tease that's coming? I know I asked you some specifics, but is there any kind of broad strokes other than what I asked you can tease about?
I would say, we go big in the finale.
All
Like we're
right.
not messing around. So I hope people are excited for it, because the ramp up to it and the answers and the twists in 10, I think are going to surprise people. Because I think sometimes shows are a little bit more cautious, and we swing for the fences.
Okay, great. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing more. Thank you for your time, and yeah, look forward to seeing that finale. And
Thanks.
hopefully it will only be a season finale. We'll say that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Bye bye.